Standing for a brief moment of silence, and Councilmember Gary Kendrick will lead us in the pledge.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, staff, do you have any agenda changes?
There are no changes, Mayor.
Council, any agenda changes? At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council authority and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions, and an item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards under public comment?
We have 2 cards, sir, and unfortunately our timer is not working this afternoon, so I'm just kind of let you know when it's 3 minutes or so.
Wave at me.
Yes. Our first speaker is Jack Leary. Mr. Leary?
Say Jack Leary.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Leary. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I come this evening with a traffic problem that I would like the city to look into. And I have brought some pictures, if I can approach.
If you could bring it to Angela, she'll bring it to us.
I had the misfortune about a month ago. Well, actually, it was longer. It started longer than that ago, about 3 months ago, to have to do business with Speedy Cash right there off of Broadway in our city, and where the Starbucks is located. And I would get off on Friday evenings. I would go to make my payment, and I would end up having to set out in the roadway trying to get into Speedy Cash because the driveway into Speedy Cash as well as Western AutoZone would be blocked with cars trying to get in the driveway of Starbucks. So I brought this to the attention of Starbucks, and a young gentleman told me when I asked him about why the driveway was being blocked, and his response to me, God strike me dead, they're entitled. Well, I've had about all the entitlement that I've cared to see over the last few years. It seems everybody's entitled. Well, I'm entitled to go to do business with a business and not have to set out in a roadway or set in a driveway that's blocked off. I think the planning of that driveway and that drive entrance to Starbucks was the most pathetic result of construction I've ever seen in my life. Now, ordinarily, in a perfect world, if people were considerate to one another, as I demonstrate in the pictures with arrows, you would drive in that parking lot, stay to the right, and then make a left, and then another right into the driveway. They don't do that. They shoot in the driveway and cut straight across, which blocks everything. You can't get into Western Auto, you can't get down to Starbucks, and you surely can't get into Speedy Cash. I mentioned this to the girls that were working in Speedy Cash, and they told me the same thing. A lot of times when they go to work in the morning, they have to set out in the roadway, in the middle lane, wait for traffic to break so they can shoot in and park over, not in the front of the store, but over to the side to get to work. And sometimes they're late. So I would like the city to look into this, and I think at first I thought make them move the driveway, but, that's a big expense, a lot of money. So I'm suggesting to the city that your traffic people or the police department traffic division look at this, and I think if you put a designated yellow or red line lane coming in off the driveway, showing these people that just can't seem to drive correctly and drive rudely to cut off everybody from doing their business. If you brought that lane in and curved it around and then shot it in to Starbucks, I think we'd have a winner. And I think there'd be a lot of people that would be happy that are trying to get to Western or AutoZone and also get to Speedy Cash.
Well, let me ask our city manager, assistant city manager, Vince DiMaggio, if you could have the traffic engineers look into this and see if there's anything we could do to remedy the situation, or you already have thoughts on this issue?
Well, Mayor and Council, we will, after listening to Mr. Leary's comments, we will definitely look at the situation. And if he wants to leave his number, I can get his number from Angela. I can update him on what our progress is in examining the situation.
Yeah, let's do that. And then if you don't feel like you got satisfaction, please come back or give us a call, and let's continue talking. But I think that the first step is to get the city engineers out there to see what can be done.
I did forget to add one thing. Right across the street on the right-hand side is the Food for Less driveway where people come out onto that street. And I've seen some near misses there, fender benders, for sure, because people were trying to get out of Food for Less, and that area is blocked up and they get caught in it. So I thank the mayor, I thank the council. I hope you consider my proposal. I don't know if it's the correct one, but it's the one that I think might be least expensive and work.
Well, at least gets the conversation started, and we see if we can find a solution. Would you leave your phone number with Angela so that the city manager can
I have it on my card.
Okay, super.
And my address.
Somebody will get back to you, and like I said, if you feel like you didn't get satisfaction, we're here every 2 weeks. Happy to have you come in anytime and tell us how things are going.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Bill, I have a question.
Yeah.
About this, or a comment. As somebody who frequents this Starbucks almost daily, I completely agree with that. I don't know if there is a set rule as to where you can order to where you can pick up. I think where you can order, if it's back farther, because what happens is like a car will stop here and then 3 more will pile up behind it, as opposed, you know what I'm saying, right? As opposed to it being close. But that might be the easiest fix because you're just moving the order computer. But I don't know if there's like a rule as to how far they need to be because they have to make this stuff. But if not, then that's the easy fix because I know it happens to me almost every day.
Okay.
Our last speaker is Frank Carson.
Mr. Carson, welcome back.
I neglected to mention at the 3 o'clock meeting about Haunt Fest coming up on Friday, October 19. This is our 7th annual Haunt Fest. It is a great family-friendly event. We now estimate this is the largest county event that is free entry. Of course, the largest paid entry is the San Diego County Fairgrounds, but ours is the largest free entry. It takes over 3 blocks, 3 stages. The costume contest, I know many here on the council dais have volunteered as judges either for the earlier time frame or later time frame. You'll be getting a communication from the city manager's office tomorrow about possibly judging again if you're available. It'll be great. I know the community loves to see their elected officials out there for the different ages. The harder one is always the 9 o'clock time with the adults because everybody likes to maybe go to bed a little later, but it's still a very popular event. This year, some pretty cool things is we have the scary petting zoo where it's like a reptile petting zoo, pretty fun. We do also are targeting more of our teen age group with we're not calling it a haunted house, but it's a haunted maze. But more or less about 80% of the event is completely free. There's only we do have a vendor coming in doing amusement rides where it's mechanical amusement rides, and he is actually bringing in for pay to play. So it's a little different than America on Main Street in that respect, but everything else is free to the community. They can come in and enjoy it. It is received very well. I do also want to thank our very large sponsor, which is Downtown El Cajon Business Partners. They carry a large brunt of the cost of this event, making sure that our stilt walkers, a lot of our entertainers are at no cost to the city. They take care of that directly. We do not. Additionally, our other sponsors, as in Waste Management, Walmart, Verona, Saquon, and a newest sponsor, Mozzie Heating, Air, and Solar. So thank them all for their sponsorship. Hopefully we'll see you there Friday, October 19, 5 to 10 p.m. We're estimating about 40,000 people to come.
Wow, 40,000. Super. Thanks very much, Frank.
Thank you.
No other speakers, sir.
Okay. All right, item 100 is for the Emerald Zone reclassification, and I'll ask staff to tell us about this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yes, this is the Emerald rezoning project and submitted by the property owner, Mr. Corey Binns. This proposed zone reclassification from the residential multifamily 4,300 square foot zone to the residential multifamily 2,200 square foot zone brings the site into consistency with the underlying general plan designation. There's no proposed development with this action. However, it will allow the property owner to remedy an open code compliance case, and in staff's opinion, as well as the Planning Commission, more effectively. The underlying general plan designation for the site is medium density residential, as it is for the entire block and the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed RM 2200 zone is consistent with that designation, while the existing zoning, the RM 4300, is not. So if you look at the PowerPoint display here, you'll see two maps. The one on your left is the general plan designation of MR, and you see the subject property as well as the surrounding neighborhood has the MR designation. And then on the right is the zoning map, and it target or shows the our subject property as the only property on the one of the only properties, at least on the block north of Chamberlain, as RM 4300. So the proposed zone of RM 2200 will bring this site into general plan consistency, as well as with the consistent zoning with the entire block. Here's an aerial image of the site. So property is on the west side of Emerald Avenue. It's just north of Chamberlain and West Washington, south of Lexington. The surrounding developments are primarily multifamily apartments or 2 to 3 units on some of the smaller properties. The site is 8,800 square feet. There's 2 detached dwelling units currently on the property. There's also an existing unpermitted accessory structure, which places the lot coverage calculation over the allowable 50% on the existing zone. The proposed zone will allow, it will increase up to 55% and allow for a more effective means to bring this property and the structure into conformance with the proposed zone. The structure also infringes on the minimum 12-foot separation between accessory structures and buildings used for human habitation. Again, the property does not meet the current development standards of the RM 4300 zone. So just basically to recap, the project would ensure consistency with the general plan. It also provides an opportunity for an additional housing unit at the site if the property is completely redeveloped. However, the plan going forward by the property owner is to bring the the unpermitted accessory structure into compliance with the proposed zone. And on September 18th, the Planning Commission recommended City Council approval, and staff is available to answer any questions.
Any questions to staff? Ben?
Is the property owner here?
Yes.
Is the only thing that makes this not RM 4300 the structure that's there?
No, the zoning in play right now is RM 4300. The accessory structure does not comply with the current zoning standards in terms of lot coverage and separation from other structures. The proposed zone of RM 2200 will give more flexibility to the property owner to bring the existing unpermitted structure into compliance, meaning they won't have to take off or modify the structure as much as they would under their current zone.
So the only thing making it putting it in violation is the unpermitted structure,
Yes.
and therefore making it not 4300 RM 4300 approved, or right? I want to like try to simplify it maybe.
Sure. It doesn't meet the current zoning development standards.
And then but besides that is 4300 RM 4300 versus the RM 2200. I understand that it's the neighboring properties are RM 2200, but what does it mean if, let's say, I demoed everything on the property and I wanted to build a 4,300 square foot house?
So if under the current zoning, only two units could be built. The proposed zoning would allow 3 units.
When it's 2 units versus 3 units, are they dictated on size, so based on square footage, or it's just 2 units versus 3 units? Never mind the size or square footage.
Correct. The zoning does not dictate the size of each unit. It just tells you how many units could be on that based on that property because of its size.
Is the reason that the current zoning RM 4300 on that particular lot just because it's like old and hasn't been revisited, or why is that lot the only one that seems to be?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's some historical decisions that were made by the city many years ago.
Yeah, so I don't. So there's not a fiscal impact that could arise down the road. So like if I was the property owner, I don't know how, and I may be miscalculating this, but let's say you're like, hey, you're not in compliance because you have this violation due to structure. If we rezone it, now we put you in compliance, and then further down the road, they end up wanting to build something else. I don't want them to be hindered by building something bigger, or I want them to get the most bang for the buck. So if rezoning it gives them that best bang for the buck, and they know all of the strings attached, as opposed to, I'm not really familiar with the residential zoning stuff. I'm more familiar with the commercial zoning stuff. So if that's the case, then if you're going from 2 to 3 houses and they understand all that, and that's fine.
I think you can look at it in 2 ways. One, the property is the proposed zone would bring the property into compliance with the general plan in terms of zoning consistency. And 2, it creates additional opportunities for the property owner down the road.
Perfect.
To clarify, this is the path of least expensive compliance for the property owner?
We believe so.
And just to clarify, the accessory structure, you are recommending the approval of it with the change of zone?
The recommendation to the RM 2200 zone will allow the property owner to keep most of the existing structure, require the least modification.
Okay. All right. Well, let me move forward then. Gary, did you have any questions?
Mayor Lewis, before you take the public's comment, I see one error in the ordinance that was prepared in Section 2. It refers to this property on the east side of Emerald Avenue. It's on the west side of Emerald Avenue. So we'll make that change.
Thanks for telling us. All right, Angela, do we have any public speaker cards?
No card, sir.
Okay, then, just as a matter of course, then I will still make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moving second, please vote.
I will need your votes verbally, please.
I vote aye.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present.
All right, council, seems pretty straightforward. Any thoughts or discussion? Somebody like to make a motion? Steve?
I'll make a motion to approve the Planning Commission's action and introduce the next ordinance in approving zone reclassification number 2329.
Second.
All right, the motion's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries by unanimous vote. And with your permission, sir, I'll introduce the ordinance.
Please
the
do.
title. An ordinance rezoning property located on the west side of Emerald Avenue between Chamberlain and West Washington Avenues from the RM 4300 residential multifamily 4,300 square feet zone to the RM 2200 residential multifamily 2,200 square feet zone, APN 487-54461, general plan designation medium density residential MR.
Nicely done. Thank you. All right, this brings us to adjournment. The adjourned regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 9th day of October 2018, is adjourned until Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018, at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much, and good night.